Hey there, savvy home buyers and sellers. This is Jeff O'Leary, the Village Guru, and in today's episode, I want to talk about a dangerous mistake home buyers can make, especially in a market where homes seem to be selling over asking price. If you're a home buyer or seller, you're not going to want to miss this video, so let's go. Houses around here sell for $100,000 over asking. Have you ever heard that line before? Maybe you heard it from a realtor, maybe you saw it on TV, maybe you're reading internet blogs or watching videos and you're getting general statistics about what's going on in the real estate market. And I'm here to tell you, especially if you're a home buyer, be very careful about using statistics for the wrong reasons because it can get you into trouble when you're buying a house. So in the case of houses around here tend to sell for a certain amount of money, that is using the statistic sold to ask ratio and using it as a method in order to negotiate the sale of a house. Now, I've done a complete video on sold to ask ratio. You can see the link here and it'll explain what the actual statistic is good for and what it's not for. But really quickly, I'll tell you, sold to ask ratio is a great stat when we're looking at a very large area with a lot of homes to give you a snapshot of how the market's doing. For instance, if I look at the city of Toronto and see that houses on average are selling for 110% of asking price, then that tells me we're in a seller's market. The market's pretty hot, homes are selling quickly, and buyers on the most part are willing to offer over asking price. Again, if I see a sold to ask price of say 96%, that's telling me that houses are taking a while to sell and buyers are not paying over asking in general, and that it's probably more of a buyer's market or a balanced market. Now, my problem is when I hear people advising people to look at the sold to ask ratio and just automatically pay that price in order to win that bidding war. The challenge with this is that stat does not work in the micro. And the reason being is because the variable, which is the asking price that someone lists their house for sale, is not controlled. So you might have one person that artificially lowers their price because they know it's a marketing ploy and they get more people in and they may sell for 115% of asking price. But then you have someone else who lists at market value or maybe slightly above. And let's face it, if they're above market value, you don't want to go in there and then offer them 110% of asking price because you'd be way overpaying for that home. But unfortunately in this market, sometimes that's exactly what happens. So here I'm going to give you an example straight from the MLS on how this works. So for this example, let's look at a specific neighborhood in Mississauga, Churchill Meadows, and we'll look at detached houses that have sold only in the past 30 days. And this will give us a tight window, so houses are pretty comparable. Now, if you were shopping for a house, these are the houses that you may have seen in Churchill Meadows. Now, when we go to the statistics, you can see right away that on average, homes have been selling for 106% of asking price. Or if you look at the actual original sold price versus the actual sold price, about $80,000 over asking. Now, when we look at this stat, people can say, well, on average, a detached house in Churchill Meadows has been selling for $80,000 over asking price, or 106% of asking. But when we go back to the listings and we go to the column on the far right, it'll show for the individual listing how much the sales price was when compared to asking. And if you look at this list, you will see out of the 20 homes that 11 of those homes sold for less than 106% of asking price. So in 11 out of 20 of these situations, if you were to go in and pay 106% of the asking price, you would have actually overpaid for the house. And this is the danger of using a general statistic that's designed to give you a snapshot of how a market is doing and using it as a strategy for bidding on a home. Okay, so the moral of the story is this: you need to do your research ahead of time. So in my effort to make the real estate world a better place, I'm gonna give you 3 tips on how to be a successful home buyer in this market. So number 1, you need to do your market research ahead of time before you offer on a house. That means if you're working with a real estate professional, you need to see what homes are selling for and also understand how they compare to the house that you're interested in. Without this, then you might go to general statistics that can always get you in trouble. Next, and related to the last point, is understanding the spread. So when you're looking at a specific house, say it's a 4-bed detached house, then you need to understand what 4-bed detached houses in that neighborhood, in that similar square footage are selling for both on the high end and the low end. And then when you go and look at that house, you can make a smart determination of where maybe that house lies in that scale. You can never control that someone else might pay 110% of asking price for a house that's not listed at 90% of market value, but at the same time, you're gonna protect yourself and that you will not overpay, and I guarantee you, you will eventually find the house that you're looking for. And finally, using all this information to come up with a realistic plan to get you the house that you're looking for. See, on top of maybe overpaying for a house, the other side is you may start bidding on homes that you have no business bidding on because they're priced way low and there's something that you should never look at. See, in real estate, we also have what's called a cost opportunity. So if you're going and bidding on homes that are generally out of your price range just because the listing price says they're in your price range, you're wasting time and maybe losing on houses or not even seeing them that would be the perfect house for your price range. And the problem in a hot market is every time a home sells, the prices will continue to go up. So what might have been $900,000 last month is now $990,000. So when you're a buyer on a budget, especially in the lower end, you need to be smart, you need to have a plan, because that's what's gonna get you the house. Well, there you have it. I'm Jeff O'Leary. I hope you enjoyed this video on sold to ask ratio and understanding when to use that statistic and when not to use that statistic when buying a house. If you're looking to buy a house, book a call with me today. We can go over a whole strategy on how to get you to where you want to be. I'm Jeff O'Leary, the Village Guru. If you have any questions about real estate, always feel free to call or email me. Have yourself a safe day.